YouTube, it's a Thursday. I went to the gym, unfortunately, but we get it done. I just hate the environment, but we're not going to be negative. We're going to start our day off on a good note. Yesterday I was way too busy to film. I had physical therapy. I picked up the book for this video, and now I'm making breakfast. It's Fashion Week in New York. I don't really have to do that many things, but I do have a fitting today. And then I'm going up to a vintage store to shoot some content for them. And then 2 events this evening that are not Fashion Week related, but just for fun. Drinking my AG1. I'll have to make a little video for AG1 for the Insta and TikTok soon. And I have a 14-mile run, TBD on that. I don't really know where I'm gonna go yet. I haven't decided. I'm about to make breakfast. I feel like a lot of people are curious about what I eat during marathon training, and I just generally don't like to share my food just from like a perspective of like having an eating disorder. The idea of people commenting or like making judgments about how much I eat, whatever. Also not a dietitian. I don't want to give anyone any advice. I'm not qualified in that realm. Like, that's why I don't make what I eat in a day content. And also, like, I don't really make that many recipes. I'm like a creature of habit. Like, I will just be eating Greek yogurt and protein powder and some blueberries and random shit for breakfast. I don't need to like make an omelet. Pretty boring. I feel like if I do find any new foods or snacks, I definitely can like share that. Some nutrition essentials, I think for me at least during marathon training, have been athletic greens. Your multivitamin, your prebiotic, your probiotic, it has adaptogens, it has nootropics, really everything you need. It is $99 a month, which is a huge cost, but at the same time, that equals like a little bit under $3 a day. And so if you're someone that's like maybe getting coffee out of the house, but you want to try something like AG1, maybe you switch those habits so you can like try AG1 for yourself. That's been a game changer for me. Element electrolytes, where can I start? If you don't know, a lot of electrolyte brands use sugar. Element uses salt, which I really enjoy the taste of it. It's a little bit different if you're used to drinking like a Gatorade or a Liquid IV or even like Ultima or Noon. Is that the name of it? I don't know. Really important if you are running, especially in this heat. It's like 90 degrees. There's like a heat wave in September in New York right now. Classic climate change. If only we did something about that. Don't get me started. But electrolytes. Some marathon runners will pass out if you are only drinking water. And the reason for that is we have different minerals in our body: magnesium, potassium, sodium, calcium, and they all need to be in certain balances. And so when you're only drinking water, you're not getting the proper ratio that actually hydrates you. So if you ever drink water and you feel like you're still thirsty, it's probably because your water is not giving you the proper mineral balance. This is my go-to for electrolytes. I've mentioned it before. I one time was rushed to the hospital for being super dehydrated, and so I don't fuck around with that because it felt like I had appendicitis. That's what they thought it was. They thought it was ovarian cyst, and so take your electrolytes, everyone. I try to take them in the morning. I kind of take them honestly throughout the day. My first like 24 ounces of water will be with Element in the morning because you get dehydrated when you sleep. Your mouth's open. You're breathing in air, you're not drinking water. Yeah. A shout out to my older sister Elizabeth, who's getting a lot of YouTube love recently. She put me onto a new brand that I'd never heard of called Clean Simple Eats. They make mostly protein powder. They have some like hydration mixes. I think they had pancake mixes. I just reordered some stuff from them, but their protein powder is exceptional. It is whey protein, so if you have any sort of like sensitivity in that sense, look out for it. But that's been essential for me during marathon training. I got the vanilla flavor in 30 servings just to be safe, but I got like single servings of like brownie and then another flavor, which is really nice. They have single servings on their website. And so I just reordered like 30 servings of the brownie batter one because it was the best in my opinion. It'd be a cake living video without talking about weed, so let's do it. This is Rose Delights. You've probably seen it on my Instagram before. They're the edible that I stan, that I go for. I really love their ethos as like a weed brand. They have a regenerative farm in California, and so a lot of their products feature actual produce from the farm, which is really cool. A really bad experience with edibles, like you feel like you're crazy or like what the fuck was in that edible. I've had the same thing too, but this is like kind of like an organic edible. Does that make sense? Like, it's the Erewhon of edibles, in my opinion. Rose Delights, if you're listening, you're the Erewhon of edibles, in my opinion. They have a ton of different strains. This is the sleep one, which I've been really loving. I normally just take like magnesium before bed, but taking some THC CBD in like a low dose has been really helpful in like keeping me asleep. And then the high energy one is what I use before a run. Weed is like a very health and wellness thing for me. Some people I know are like angry in my DMs whenever I talk about weed, but whatever, I don't care. A lot of angles on that. I think one, people are like, how dare you be a health and wellness influencer and then talk about weed? First of all, this is a plant that's been used forever. Second of all, I bet people wouldn't care if I posted from like a going out night and I was drinking a martini. No one ever fucking bats an eye if it's alcohol. Also, a lot of like runners and marathon runners and ultra runners, they can take sponsorships from like pharmaceutical companies. They can take sponsorships from like Red Bull, vodka, like Tylenol. Yet they can't take anything from like a weed company and no one talks about it. So that's a whole thing. I can make a whole weed video. I've read the book Runner's High by Josiah Hess. I don't really want to go grab it right now, but he talks about how a lot of runners, specifically ultra runners, marathon runners, trail ultra runners, use marijuana. But it's not discussed because it's very taboo. People have their stigmas about weed. And so a lot of runners specifically don't really talk about it until they are retired from the sport. But I think the world is changing on that. I think legalization federally will happen very soon. I think people will have to realize that like to wrestle with their sort of connotations of like what someone who uses weed is. Like a lot of people that can use weed medicinally, like not only medical marijuana, but just like using it for chronic pain, anxiety. For me, it's a lot of like the anxiety stuff when I'm running. You also can use it for athletic performance, and you can be a functional stoner. Like you're not just gonna lay down on the couch. So I think people will have to change their hearts and minds on weed soon. Happy to be open and talking about it, though there are some nasty DMs out there. Couldn't care less. Rosa Lights is my edible of choice, and it's very important for me with marathon training to manage my stress, manage my pain, and weed does a great job for that. Really hungry, so I need to eat breakfast. I'll do more food, nutrition, supplement stuff throughout this video, but yeah, let's eat breakfast. I will talk to you about the book in a little bit too.
Repeat that same sentence as a 20 or 20.
Okay, hi vlog. I forgot to take you along today. I had a fitting at Gani because there's a party next week, which is exciting. Gani's a Copenhagen-based brand. We love them. Went to this vintage store called the Niche Shop. They opened up a Upper West Side location. So city biked up there and it's like 95 degrees outside. So that was a choice. Home, finished up content and emails. Then just went to this party at Supermoon Bakehouse. They did a collab with the olive oil brand Graza. I feel like everything I've said in this video would kill a pilgrim, you know that like statement? I'm heading out to a little dinner with some friends in Seaport District randomly. So walking through like Chinatown, Lower East Side, Two Bridges area for the New York City girlies, wearing this new top. I got this new top at the store today, so pulling it out, just a single girl on the streets of New York City. Maybe I'll vlog. Some of the people I'm getting dinner with tonight are vlogger, like OG vlogger girlies. So maybe we'll do some vlogging tonight. Who knows? If not, I'll talk to you guys later. Hi everyone, it is a Friday morning. Olivia Rodrigo's album is out. I am loving it. I'm being a teenage girl. Very little sleep because I was out last night, but I had such a fun time that I just kind of like spaced out during my run today. It was 45 minutes easy, so one of my easier workouts of the week, which is like crazy to say that 45 minutes of running is now easy to me, but it's cool to get better and to progress and everything. Today's a big rest day, 14 miles tomorrow. I have a little Fashion Week thing I think I'm gonna go to tonight. TBD on that. Maybe I'll be tired by 6 p.m. I just need to get a lot of sleep tonight. Crazy heat wave in New York right now, so I am kind of worried about that tomorrow, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. Although I want to talk about the book that is the center of this video, which I'm going to start reading now. Friday, I've gotten around to it a little bit late between like getting situated back in New York, coming back from Minnesota, whatever. So I'm gonna kind of speed read this book. This book, if you don't know, is about Maddie Holleran. She was a cross-country athlete at UPenn and unfortunately committed suicide. So the book is talking about like what led to this, why are we not talking about depression and mental health issues in college athletes. It'll be a very somber book. It's kind of different than a lot of the other books I've read, which have been very informative and kind of uplifting. This is a little bit more intense. Just a trigger warning for those who are like kind of following along and choosing the books. This is a very heavy book. It's really important that we talk about what is happening with college athletes. As someone who had an eating disorder, someone who's been there, prevalent that like you could have so many teammates and friends that are struggling in silence. It's manifests in depression and suicide in Maddie's case. So this is a very serious topic that I wish we would shed more light on. So I'm excited to read. It's like 2 p.m. on a Friday. I have a call in a little bit. As I mentioned before, I might go to an event if I'm not sleepy, but I think I'm gonna go outside and read this just to get some fresh air, even though it's muggy as hell. I just gotta get out of my little cave here. But that's the book. I'm gonna go read and I'll chat with you in a little bit. YouTube, how's it going? It's a Friday night at 8 o'clock and I'm getting ready for bed. So sorry for my voice right now. I think I have mold in my AC unit. I feel like I get that suspicion every single month. I don't know, just like I feel like I have a weird like sinus thing, but I'm also stressed out and I feel like that, you know, shows up in my body as I've mentioned before. But it's a Friday and I'm getting ready for bed. I'm gonna read the book, What Made Maddy Run. I actually didn't end up going in a park and reading it because it was thunderstorming all day, so kind of just sat inside and relaxed. First long run I'm not really looking forward to because I know that I don't want to do it because I don't want to like sit and have to think about my life. Like running is that alone time when you have that opportunity, and I just don't want to think about life, which is pretty depressing, but I'm just like being transparent that I feel pretty depressed right now. Okay. There's a lot of things to be grateful for. There's also a lot to work through and a lot of big emotions, as I've been saying. Having the marathon body dysmorphia moment too. Once again, I'm not going to do anything different. Like past me would have tried to change what I'm eating and eat less, and like past me probably would have gotten injured. And so it's tough when like the smart side of me knows that I can't do that, but then the stupid side of me is like feeling awful about their body and like doesn't want to look a certain way, and then your head goes back to eating disorder stuff. Being honest with you guys about what my brain is like sometimes, because I don't ever want it to seem like I'm like perfect human being, which I don't feel like I do, but I think just like being a person on the internet, you know, people probably think it's all rainbows over here, but it's quite not. One thing I do like to think about every now and then, when I feel like I can't control my life and I'm just in a state of chaos, I always think about that like question or something, or maybe I made this up, but if someone asked you, do you want to know everything that's going to happen to you in the next 5 years, would you say yes to that, or would you not want to know? And I feel like most people would fall in the camp of not knowing, right? Like you don't want to hear that this is going to happen on this day and this will happen on this day and this heartbreak and this awful news will happen. Because I'm in a period where like I can't envision my life being like happy-go-lucky, you know? Like I just feel like I'm in a slog and I'm like, what is going to get me out of there besides like myself and random universe just like making things better. I don't know what even my day tomorrow is going to be, and that's fine, but it's really hard to wrestle with the uncertainty when, yeah, there's kind of like no light at the end of the tunnel. Oh my god, I sound so depressed in this video. I'm so sorry. It's just like Friday night and I'm alone and I was like walking and I just saw like all these people going out and I'm like, wow. Lonely girl. But, you know, I'm chatting with you guys. That's not weird to be talking into a camera on your Friday night, right? Anyways, I'm gonna finish up my skincare, which basically is just La Roche-Posay. I've used their stuff before and they kindly restocked me and they sent me like the Effaclar Duo, which helps a lot with like hormonal acne, or at least it does for me. So that's kind of my skincare moment right now because I've never really found a skincare brand that like works for me. Like they all have kind of worked, but nothing where I'm like, oh, this like actually makes a difference, you know? Go read our book and sit in our Normatex and think good thoughts before we do 14 miles tomorrow. Have a good Friday night. I hope you watch some Snoopy or maybe you're getting high. Do it for me. Okay, bye. Everyone, I slicked back my hair and I think I look bald. I put my hair in a little bubble braid because I can't deal with like my hair being in a knot and pulling out so much hair. I also decided to cut my hair this morning. I just chopped off 2 inches randomly. YOLO. Is it a depression thing? Is it an actual needed thing? Who knows? Be a mental one for me because, yeah, I kind of mentioned it last night. I feel like I just have a lot that I should think about, but it's easier to not do that. I run uptown just like as far as I can, and then that'll be my day. I woke up at like 6, and I'm just going with it. Like I have a cold right now. Sorry, my voice is disgusting. CPR to my feet right now. I have blisters everywhere. It's disgusting. It's World War III down on my feet. Doing some rehab, and then I'm gonna stretch and get out the door. Hello everyone. I feel like a brand new woman who just finished up 14 miles. No, I'm not like perfectly back to normal, but I feel like I sweated out a lot of things. Also, sorry, I'm like screaming. I've had headphones in for 2 hours. Fueling and hydration went pretty well. I didn't have to use the bathroom too often either, probably because I was just sweating out all the water. I only had to pee one time. So sweaty. I feel like I have sand on me, which I don't. Is that debris? Is that just me being a grimy rat? Who knows? Happy Saturday, people. Get out there, go on a run. Even if you're sad, you'll feel better. Okay, goodbye. It's a Sunday. Took an edible, and the edible is hitting. I haven't been this high in a while. And I'm walking over to the West Side Highway to read my book / just lay down. We'll talk about the book later when I'm not stoned because it's very good, but it's very serious. But have a goofy night, everyone. Good morning, YouTube. It's a Monday. I just went to Trader Joe's and we got a lot to do today. I spoke yesterday night on the West Side Highway, and so let's chat about it. I've never really talked about my experience playing college athletics. I've talked a little bit about the recruitment process and how stressful that was for me, and like that kind of led me to spiral and have an eating disorder because I felt like there was such a weight on my shoulder to go to the best school, get the best scores, be the best athlete and everything. But I haven't really opened up about why I quit playing. So I quit playing right before my junior year of college. I was on the NYU volleyball team for 2 years. I think when I did quit, I was 20, almost 21. I didn't have quite the confidence and the strength that I have now to sort of leave the impression and quit in the way that I thought did justice. I just knew for myself, like I needed to get out of that environment in order for me to be healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of the things. I think now, if I were to have to go through that situation again, I definitely did stand up for myself along the way of like certain parts of playing college athletics when things were wrong. I did always go to like the athletic director, the coaches, or I would talk to teammates about like what is going on here. But I didn't really feel like I had much of a voice to affect change and also stay on the team. Like I think even if I did raise concerns that other teammates had, I didn't think that those things would actually get implemented. And I didn't think that I would have a sense of security and safety being on the team, and so I just had to leave. What I'll say about the situation as it relates to Maddie Holleran is the recruitment process was quite crazy, like she had in the book, where I was taking the ACT as a 10th grader for all the Ivies and schools like that. I was so burnt out by the time I was a junior. That's like when my eating disorder started. I committed to NYU my junior year. NYU's Division III, and I wanted to go that route. I had some Division I interest, but it wasn't at like an academic program I liked. Luckily, my mom, who is a all-time jock, and she went the Division I like sports route, she was the one that told my older sister and I, like, go to school first. Like, what if you tear your ACL the first week of school, and then you're on a campus you don't even like, just you like only went there for sports. So I'm very grateful that my mom really helped us through this process, and like even though she comes from the background of playing high level, she was like, you guys should go to school first. So I landed at NYU and I was stoked about it. I was so excited to come to the city. I started to connect with girls that were on the team. Excited for school, and I was excited for volleyball. Volleyball's a fall sport, so I had to come here in August, and we moved in like 2 weeks early than everyone else, which was really nice. 3-a-day practices started. I was really stressed out about being in shape and feeling like I was ready to perform. I started my freshman year and I worked really hard to get that starting position, and it was a lot of work to get there. I knew at the time that NYU was ranked worst in the conference, and so it was kind of the inkling that me and the 3 other freshmen that were recruited were going to be a part of turning the program around. Now that didn't really happen. Losing team is one thing, but being on like a very chaotic environment of a team is not ideal. Hazing of the freshmen, the coach ended up getting fired. I think a lot of the times when I was kind of raising my ears of like, this isn't normal, I really didn't know what to do because I was a freshman. And I talked to the other freshmen about it, and they're like, yeah, like this is bad, but we want to be on the team. And I've always been someone that's like stood up for what I thought was right. And so I think I felt very isolated once I started to be like, this is fucked up. Like this team environment is fucked up here. What's happening with the captains and the coaches and everything. So at that point in my freshman year, I was like, okay, after the coach was fired and they tried to find a new coach, I just think the team dynamic was so off for me. I did not feel supported athletically and academically. I think when the new coach came on, I didn't feel like I had any support academically. I think I felt punished for having an internship. I felt punished for like taking the most of being in New York City. There was a lot of weird, my schedule was quite packed because I knew that I wanted to have an internship and I wanted to be in 4 classes and I wanted to be on the volleyball team and I also worked retail. I was doing a lot, right? But I was never ever late to a volleyball practice. I never missed out on anything. And I started to feel like I wasn't allowed to do all of those things while still being on the volleyball team. I relapsed into my eating disorder during that time. And I think that was the biggest reason why I had to get off the team. Didn't feel supported in any of the food and nutrition choices. Didn't feel supported when something was up. I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to. And I think it was a really scary environment for me. And when I was reading the book with Maddie, all of the texts that go back with her friends and her family about like wanting to quit the cross-country track team at UPenn, I had those exact same moments with my family. And I really am scared if I didn't stand up and quit, like what could have happened to me. I had so much going for me. And like where I am now, I'm very grateful for, but like I had so much going for me when I was 20. And the fact that just like sports and that team was like a hostile environment for me, like I was really just like risking my life. I was underweight. I wasn't getting my period. I was relapsing into my eating disorder. I was isolating from all my friends. I didn't want to go out. I was so stressed out studying all the time. And it just became so unhealthy for me. And thank God that my mom told me to quit. She was the one that pushed me to quit, which I'm very grateful for. It was going into my junior year. We did all of the preseason, so I did all of like the 3-day practices and lifts. It was like, oh, you look so good. Meanwhile, relapsed into my eating disorder, had lost a significant amount of weight, which is a whole thing. Came back junior year on campus. Environment was still awful in my opinion, and it still was unhealthy. And my mom told me when she came out and watched me for the preseason matches playing, I remember we were in a hotel room. And it was right after we finished playing the preseason games, so nothing was on the books yet. And we were in this hotel room, and my mom could tell that I was just isolated, and I was silent. Very similar to how Maddie was, where I was just not myself. She said, Kate, the only time you call us crying is August to November. And you know what that part of the year is? That's volleyball season. Every other part of the year, we can't get a hold of you because you love being in New York City, you love your school, you love the academic program, you love your advisors, you love your internship, you love your jobs at Outdoor Voices and Cap Beauty, and you love your life, except when it's volleyball season. And I kind of like looked around and I think I had this like moment of relief and I was like, yeah, volleyball sucks. And it sucks because I've been doing it since 4th grade. My mom's a coach. I felt this huge disappointment of quitting. What is my mom going to do when she has to go back and coach all these kids? And they're asking like, oh, what do your daughters do? And she's like, well, my daughter just quit playing volleyball. I felt so much shame and guilt around that I wanted to like stick it out somehow. But I just knew that there was no way that that was going to be a safe and a healthy environment for me. And so I quit. And I remember getting all of my volleyball gear into the laundry bag and walking from my West Village apartment all the way through Washington Square. And we had lift that morning, and I remember I texted my coach or emailed him or something like, I want to talk to you before we go to lift today. And obviously I show up and I have all my volleyball gear. He knows something is up. And I just sit down and I really wish that I had the balls to say what I wanted to say at that time. You know, this was not a safe environment. I relapsed to my eating disorder and no one fucking cared in this entire program. I had no one to talk to. I did not feel supported at all. And that's my personal experience. Like, don't know about anyone else. There were a lot of other girls that quit for various reasons on that team. But I just remember being so emotional when I had to quit because I felt like such a letdown for broader reasons than this coach. I didn't really care about this coach and his dignity because I felt like treated me like a piece of shit. But I wish that I didn't break down crying. And I talked about this in the last video. Whenever I get into like something I'm very passionate about, I just start crying and I feel like it signals that I'm weak, but it signals that for me that I care so much about this thing. You have to do what's right for you because as soon as I quit playing volleyball, my life opened up, okay? I got into running. I started to have friends again. I really started to take care of my body and I got my period back and I learned about all this health and wellness stuff. My best friend Emma and I started CMOS girlies after we graduated. I got on TikTok. I got sponsored by Hoka. I'm now a sponsored athlete. And like, I never, ever, ever thought that. Never thought any of these things. I never thought I'd be having a fucking YouTube channel when I was in college and when I was in this dark, dark part of my life, which was only like 4 or 5 years ago. I'll say, like, whether or not you're a college athlete, whether you're just someone out there living and you feel these pressures of like depression and that like suicidal ideation come up, please know that there's help. Just know if you are in any sort of toxic situation that you start to see yourself losing love for being alive and losing that light in your eyes and that like joy for just being alive, like you don't have to stay in that place. You need to shoot me a DM or anything if you're going through it. I'm here for you. I'm going through it in different ways right now, but not related to like all that stuff. Thank God. Thank God I've like figured out the body health stuff and like not going back. I mean, certainly, if I'm gonna be honest, like I said, the body dysmorphia stuff is coming back. I wrote in my journal morning pages this morning that like you cannot restrict your food. Girl, you have 8 weeks till the fucking marathon. You are not getting injured. You're not gonna fucking undereat. You don't need to lose weight. You don't need to lose weight. And that's like so hard for me to say out loud because I think that's been in my head since I've been fucking 14, that like thinner is always better. And I know that's not true, but then you get the little devil on your shoulder that like thinks that for 5 minutes. Goal for like these next weeks is to just keep doing what I'm doing for the marathon. I'm very grateful that I read this book about Maddy Run because it allowed me to think about that dark time. I think when you have like bad things happen to you, you kind of don't reflect on them because it's hard. Now I think as like someone who's 24 and like running is my thing, not volleyball, I've just been thinking about like building a better version of myself and like what do I need to do to support myself. Really good. I hope that was helpful, informative about all my volleyball stuff. I guess I've never really talked about the volleyball thing. The book just made me think a lot about that and college athletes, but yeah, I'm gonna get on with my Monday. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for being there. It's really awesome to see you guys enjoying these videos. And let me know if you're reading any of the books too. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I'm gonna go to physical therapy, have like 2 Fashion Week things today, have to record a podcast, do some brand stuff, and then I'll pick up the book eventually. But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next. Bye.